In this tutorial, you will learn how to use the MOV Fitness meal and exercise planning software, designed by Matt Hackney. Start off by putting in your client's name, and then the telephone number, and click whether they're male or female. And then you get the option of putting in their resting heart rate. Now this is very important, and you want to keep in mind that if they're an extreme Olympic athlete, they're going to have about a 40 beat per minute heart rate. If they're your average athlete, 50 beats per minute. If they're just starting a workout program, 60 beats per minute. And if they're really out of shape, 70 beats per minute. I'm going to assume Mary is about 60 beats per minute. So we type in 60 and press enter. After this, we want to type in her present weight. And also, you could choose over here. This says with workout clothes on and no shoes. You can click that and change that if you'd like, depending on what she says. Now also you want to put in the present body fat percentage. And fill the rest of this out as well. Once you get to the personality column, you can have a drop-down list and choose what type of personality Mary is. This doesn't change anything in the program, but it's just a frame of reference for her when she's reading the Fire Within book to see who she is. Now that we have all this information set in, you can see the Hamley formula tells us the ideal weight for Mary, plus or minus 10%, and the ideal. And you can see our desired body weight was 135 pounds. That's right on the ideal body weight. Okay, we can go ahead and scroll down now. And we see a new section of the program. In this section, right here, it tells us 1473. This means that if Mary was in a coma, she would need 1473 calories just to survive without gaining or losing any muscle or fat mass. In addition to the basic metabolic rate, since Mary is not in a coma, we need to know what her sedentary activities are plus her basic metabolic rate, which is going to make up a new calorie index for her. So let's put in her activity index here. Mary's a school teacher, and she's standing on her feet most of the day teaching the kids, but she doesn't work out very much, so we'll put in here a 5. You can see that already adds 400 extra calories into her day just by not being in a coma. Many people are confused by this, and you see many diets out there that recommend less than 1400 calories. Our program is going to recommend at minimum 1866 calories for Mary. Now we have another column here that adds her exercise in plus her sedentary activities plus her BMR, and this is blank so far. We will come back to this. There's more information here about the TEF. You can research TEF to figure out what this means, and her estimated energy expenditure presently. Over in this column, you'll find how many calories the program is going to recommend to Mary in order to lose a little bit of weight each week. You can tweak this, and I like to tweak this so that our clients will lose up to 2 pounds per week. I'm going to put in 1400, and you can see she will lose 1¼ pound about per week following that plan. Any less than 1400 calories, and I don't think it's too healthy for the body, so let's keep that at 1400 and come back to this later, making sure that the client always loses at least 1 pound per week, but never more than 2 pounds per week. Down further in the program, you'll see her present body weight, her lean mass, and her fat mass. This is just information to reference to, and it also allows your client to understand what they're going to be losing throughout the process with you. If she's going to lose enough weight to weigh 135 pounds, she's going to actually have to lose a little bit of muscle too. She started with 122 pounds of muscle, but she ends up with 106 pounds. Started out with 47 pounds of fat, ends up with 28. If you look at the changes, she's losing just about as much fat as she is muscle, with a total of 35-pound loss. It's important to explain this to your client whenever they feel like they're getting weaker or they feel like they don't have as much muscle definition as they used to. Many of them are confused and they think that muscle definition when they're 50 pounds overweight is a good thing. You actually want to tear that muscle down, and this is a good indicator of why we're going to be doing that. Down lower, you'll see the fat burning target heart rate. This is a good target heart rate in order for your client to get in what we call the fat burning zone. The VO2 max zone is right below that, and these are both very healthy zones for your client. We don't have the HIIT zone, the high intensity interval training zone in here. That's about 180 beats per minute, and we only recommend doing that after the client is already very healthy and on a really good meal planning program. So I wouldn't recommend that to anybody for their first few weeks on the meal planning program. Okay, so this is our first page in a nutshell, the information page. You can't see it on the screen, but down in the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to click the workout plan button. And that brings this up. Now, on this page, you'll see a place for the average exercise calories, calories per day, and the date, all for Mary. We have custom MOV fitness training programs that we do, but we also have programs that you might not find with MOV Fitness. For example, weightlifting, general aerobics, a treadmill, and an assortment of sports down here. So in talking to Mary, we find out that she does 2 hours of yoga a day. 2 hours of yoga per week. And she's also just starting out the MOV bootcamp and joining us for 1 day a week of personal training. With that in mind, we want to put in that she's doing 2 hours a week of yoga, and she will be doing the boot camp. I want to say 3 times per week, even though the client tells us 5 times a week. That's not very realistic, so let's put 3 in here, and then also 1 personal training session. I find that the clients love boxing, so I usually put in beginner boxing to start out here. 1 hour of beginner boxing if they're doing 1 session per week. With all of that in mind, she's averaging 300 calories a day loss if she's working out those 6 times a week. So that was 3 boot camps, 1 boxing, and 2 yoga classes. Now you could change this around to whatever you want, and 1 stands for 1 hour, so you could put 0.5 in here if you'd like, 0.5, and that'll change that to half an hour, to where she only expends 150 calories instead of 300. And now that we have all this information in, let's go back to the information page, which again, you can't see the tab, but you'll have that on yours. And we can go back over to this area. Now you see it has changed. The reason it's changed, it was about 1.14, now it's 1.77. The reason it increased is now she's working out. She has an extra 300 calories a day that she's burning off, which means she's burning off 2,200 calories per day. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So ultimately, we need to set this up to where your client is burning about 3,500 calories per week. If they're going to burn 2 pounds a week, that would be 7,000 calories per week. You can see her weekly deficit is about 6,000 calories here, which is 1 3/4 of a pound. So 1,400 is a little bit on the low end, and I like to give clients a little bit more than that and show them weight loss success over a long period of time as opposed to in the very beginning. This will also increase her metabolism more if she does it correctly. So let's give her 1,600 calories now that she's working out that much, and we're still losing 1.37 pounds per week, which I would be happy with. Now that we know that she needs 1,600 calories, let's go to the first day, which is Sunday. Click on that button down on the bottom, and you find the meal planning program come up. Follow our next tutorial to learn how to use this page.